So what's going on, guys? Again, here from Kansas City, and those that know me from my end game is Axe. So I want to get to this video right away. Now, listen, guys, I had already made this video. As a matter of fact, I made it. I made it twice, and the second time, for some reason, it did not record. So that sucked, man. Uh, so uh, Uh, Nonetheless, yeah, I done healed everything. I lost like 25 million might in this little test run that we did, and I still got over a million in the in the uh, in the sanctuary. But I did a test, and I wanted to show it to you guys. I had the video. I mean, it was 45 minutes long, guys. And somehow the recorder decided to not to have an error, technical difficulties. So let's get back to uh, uh, the test and see what we had. So we basically were testing the front or the composition to see if T2, T4, and T5 is the best composition, or is T2, T3, T4, T5, or is T3, T4, T5 a better composition. So I think it would have been better if you guys had saw the entire video. It was lengthy, but you were able to see the entire, you know, me uh, putting the troop compositions out there and the number of troops of each particular tier and all of that. But hey, it's all good. So let's get into it. The first one here is uh, now the thing that I didn't want the tester to do, I didn't want the tester to use. I didn't intend, should I say? I'm not gonna say I didn't want. I didn't intend for them to use familiars. It was basically supposed to be, roughly 300 troops versus 300, and the first time we tried it, I tried it and I was getting demolished because uh, um, I was getting demolished because I didn't have any siege to get a battle report, and so that's when I redid it so that I could get a battle report. So here's the first one. Let's look at the troop composition here. This one is with the entire uh, uh, troop tier. We got T1 in there, 5,000 of those each. We have T2 in there, 50,000 each. We have T3 in there, 25,000 each. We have both T4 and T5 with siege, 5,000 each. And here is the battle report. Those are the familiars that the attacker used, and here are the results of the losses on my side as well as his side or her side. So those are my losses, and those are that person's losses. And let's go here, and those are the familiars that were used for this. Okay. So, and we try to make it isolated to use the same. I asked the person to use the same 300 mixed for the entire thing, so that we could get like a real example, the best example if we can. So the whole purpose of the whole test was to see, are T3 that bad? Because the common consensus, everybody believes that you should not even have T3 in your composition unless they're just siege for either testing front lines or gathering resources. So I wanted to put the test to the theory because some people just say it, but they never actually test it. And some people think, okay, because they cost more to heal, because they cost more than T2, and because they cause morale to go down faster or things like that, that's why they don't use them. But back in the days when I started a while back, you were using T3s, but you didn't have T5s. So let's look at this here. Let's look at the report. Let's look at number one. This one is with the entire. I have the entire I have the entire thing. with T1, T2, T3, T4, T5 on my end, and just T4 on the attacker, the tester screen. Now, the first round that we did that I erased the recording is because they were using T4 and T5 mixed all the way down, and I wasn't getting reports except with one that had siege. So then I changed it around, and we did. I told him or her to use only just use T4, and then I added siege in there with all of that. So there you see, he has 96,000, almost 97,000 casualties to my 27, and that's with the full all of the troops there. That's what you have there. So the next one we're going to look at is going to be without T1. It should be T2, T3, 4, and 5. Right here. It should be T2, T3, T4, T5. And there you can have it. There you have it right there. T2. Make this a little smaller. You have T2, 55,000 each. T3, 25,000 each, and then T4 and T5. Now, this is the composition that, of course, like to the first one, that everyone agrees, or there's a common consensus nowadays in Lawrence Mobile, that this is not the composition that you want to have. So, let's look at the results. First and foremost, this one compared to the first one that had T1s, the only difference is that this one has no T1s, and it has 5,000 of each troop type, no siege of T2. So it has T2 as the first one had T2, but it just has 5,000 more of each T2, and we have no T1s in there. And so this is the results of it. So with the first one, we lost about the same. They lost 348,000 might. I lost almost 43 million might. Now, keep in mind, I did this probably like 12 times already before we actually got the 4 that we wanted, because the other ones I accidentally added T3 Siege. The other ones where he was using T5s, and I was like, okay, can't we use T5s because I'm not getting a report, And we tried to switch it up, and then I started using Siege, and I just told him to use T4. So once again, that's that one. That's the T. And then on this one, the enemy lost about 12,000 more, which when we took away the T1. So we see when taking away the T1, we performed a little bit better. We still had 10,000 survivors. They lost 289, they lost 4,000 red, 6,000 wounded. Whereas the first one with the T1s, they lost under 4,000 red and under 6,000 there. So they lost a total of 9,683 troops. Whereas the second time they lost 10,000. So a slightly more loss because we added the extra 5,000 T2s on each troop type. And same familiars. And let's look at the battle report. And there you have it there. We had those extra T2s and no T1s. And then let's look at the battle report. On the first one, the morale of the attacker of the tester was 97. I think it'll be 97 on this one as well. I'll turn the sound so you guys can hear it. So we all agree that there was a slight better outcome for the defender with getting more kills and then not using the T1s. So I think in this particular example, adding a few more T2s and eliminating that amount in T1s made it a little bit stronger. Now we're going to get to the next one here. This one here. Uh, let's go to T2s first. This one's going to be the composition that everyone says is the composition people should use, which is T2, T4, T5. This is the composition that everybody is following suit with. They're following suit with, and they feel like this is the composition that everyone should use. So as once again, he has the same familiars and the same troop type. He has all T4s, and here's what he lost when I use only T2. I use now since I eliminated T3 and I eliminated T1. We took the T2 up to 75,000 T2s, and we added some more T4s just to overall make it 280,000 troops. And that's what we got. His losses were, we remember that on the first one he had 96,000 and something, and the second one he had 10,012, and on this one he lost 9169. So with this one here, we can see that just using tier 2, T3, and just using T2, T4, and T5, it kind of equaled out to the same way as using T1, T3, 4, and 5. It's what the kind of results kind of basically added out to be for T2. And did we look at the battle report? This is all T2, T4, and T5. This is the composition that everybody says you should use. Now, I know there's a lot of factors such as raw HP and things like that are not in here. But my goal, my actual thing was to set out to see just the composition. If I use a T2, T4, and T5 composition, or if I use a T3, T4, T5 composition. 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3. If I use a 2, 4, 5 composition, T2, T4, T5, or if I use a 2, 4, 5 composition. As you can see, he still stayed at 97 morale on the winning side, and he had less. The attacker, the attacker actually lost less troops, with going up against just the T2s, the T4s, and the T5s. He lost less troops than when he went up against the T1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on that one. Matter of fact, on just using T2, T4, and T5 as my army, the attacker lost less completely, even though the T2 was more and the T4 was more, as you can see in here. We had 75,000 T2s and 10,000 T4s. And when using this composition, everything else being equal, like the rest of them, the attacker actually came out much better. 33,084, whereas this one, which is T1, T2, and 3, he lost more here, more might there when I had just T1s. When I had T1s, 50,000 each T2s, some T3s, and then 4 and 5s of that. I only had 5,000 T4s, only 25,000 T3s. But with this composition here, it stood up against it better than this composition here when I had T2, T4, T5. So now let's go to the next one, which is the T3. This one's T3. And here's the results. We use the same troop amount of each tier, such as we did in T2. T2, T4, T5, which is the one they say you should use. And here's what we used. No, this is a different one. This is the one here with the T2, T3, T4, T5. That's the overall one. Did we use that one? We see that one already? That's 360. I think what I'm looking for is this one here. T2 one. Yeah, this is the T2 one. This is the one I'm looking for. I might have skipped one, guys. Apologize if I did. But as we can see right here, instead of having T2s, we got T3s. So the last one we just looked at, that was the one that everybody says you should use, which is T2, T4, and T5. On this one, we use T3, T4, T5. So our front line is T3, and our other front line was T2. On T3 front line of 75,000 each, we came out significantly better. Instead of the enemy losing, the attacker losing 9,100 or whatever, he lost much more. He lost twice as much. So the T3s helped accomplish twice as much damage than the T2s. That's with the T2s. This is with the T3s. So when we use T3, look at it again. When we're using T3 and T4 and T5, we're getting double the and you can see we lost 62-1, whereas with T2s we lost 36. We lost less because T2s are twice as lower than T3s. But the enemy also lost significantly less, and he lost a significantly amount of less troops. But he lost way more troops. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a mathematician. But I think if I'm being attacked, I want to inflict on the attacker the most damage as possible. Now, so that one is the T3, and let's look at the report. Now, instead of losing 97 morale, the person is going to be using losing like 3. So he lost twice as much morale with T3, T4, T5. So in the comparison that we just looked at, guys, the attacker, when he went up against the front line of T2 with the T4 and T5, he did much less damage than the same numbers if he would have went up against the same composition that had replaced the T's with T2s. So bigger difference, guys. So you tell me what you think. I mean, the enemy lost much more morale. You know. So there you have it there. And let's look at what he lost. He lost significantly more T4 on this one that he had the last time, and we lost significantly more. And of course, he was in range wedge. I'm in infantry wedge. Which infantry wedge and range wedge, I think they should have the advantage. Let's look at here and see. Very quick. Let's do a drill. Infantry wedge versus. Hold on. Infantry wedge versus. Well, I don't think you can do range wedge. You just have to. Yeah, you can't really do it. infantry wedge versus range. They won't let you do range wedge. They need to update that. But just the wedge. But let's look at it like this here. Let's leave that and go right here, and just say infantry wedge. He's got the infantry out there, and then the range, and then the cavalry. Range wedge, you're gonna have that. Whereas you're gonna have infantry and range out there, so you're gonna have infantry being countered by that, and the range being countered by the infantry. So cavalry wedge should have won. No, he had range wedge. I'm tripping, guys. I'm tripping. He had range wedge. So you got the infantry out there, and then you got the range, and then you have the range, and then the cavalry. So the range should pull up first and meet with the infantry. The cavalry should pull up first and meet with the infantry, and then the. So you guys tell me if you think if it was a good counter or not. You guys let me know. But as I was saying, there you have right there. Now we did have this one. This one was the one that had T2, T3, T4, T5. Again, another composition that they say you should not use. You shouldn't have any T3 in there. But the results, he lost 10,000. He lost 10,026. He lost there. Same familiars. But in the loss, it's still, and like I said, the composition, we had 55, 25, that and that. But still, just having the T3, T4, and T5 appeared to be the winner here. Just having T3s. T3, T4, T5. And this little test here, T3 came out better to me. If you ask me, the enemy lost much more might, twice as much, and we lost twice as much might. But they lost more morale, twice as much morale, and we had many more survivors. We had quite a few more survivors rather than having in the T2, rather than having 10,000 survivors in the T2 one. We had in the T3 one, we had 45. I'd rather have more survivors. So it seems like to me, you guys can look at that and you tell me what you think about this. I think that, like we said, we looked at two of them. We looked at a composition where we just use the same 75,000 T2 as we use 75,000 T3 in the other. So the only difference is one is using T2, the other one is using T3. And the T3, I think they resisted much better. The adversary lost much more might. Our morale didn't go down as faster. Their morale went down much more. So I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. And I'm bringing it out here because the consensus is you shouldn't use them. But when we used just T2s, the adversary, he lost much less might than pretty much all the rest that we used on the other comparisons and tests. So that was that, guys. Thank you for looking at the video, and we're gonna call it a day. We out.